David and I just got back from the now permanent residence of, wait for it, Zakir Naik. We even took a picture to prove it. After persuading the guards to grant us access to his padded cell, Zakir spent most of the time trying to persuade us of his crackpot theory that the Quran does not really teach that a Muslim male has the right to beat his wife if he fears that she might be disobedient. Before he was sedated and restrained for crazy talk, we were able to get the following footage.
When your wife does not listen to you, then you should warn her. If yet she does not follow your instruction, then you refuse to share the bed. And yet if she doesn't listen, then the Arabic word there is darba. That means beat her lightly.
So far that's not entirely inaccurate. But as Zakir continued to speak, it was apparent that the psychosuppressants were wearing off, because he went on to say,
"It's a symbolic beating." And the explanation is given in the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ, in the authentic hadith, that it is like beating with a miswak, beating with a toothbrush, which is a thin stick. In today's age, I would say, beating with a handkerchief. Now imagine when you beat with a handkerchief, surely it will not hurt. It is more of a symbolic beating. And the Prophet said, you should not beat your wife on the face. You should not beat on the body which leaves a mark, indicating that this beating is only symbolic.
As you can see, Zakir is either crazy enough to believe what he just said, or he's crazy enough to think that the rest of the world is going to believe that Muhammad did the following with the equivalent of an ancient handkerchief. She, that is Aisha, said, "When it was my turn for Allah's messenger to spend the night with me, he turned his side, put on his mantle, and took off his shoes, and placed them near his feet, and spread the corner of his shawl on his bed, and then lay down till he thought that I had gone to sleep. He took hold of his mantle slowly, and put on the shoes slowly, and opened the door, and went out, and then closed it lightly. I covered my head, put on my veil, and tightened my waist wrapper, and then went out following his step till he reached Baki. He stood there, and he stood for a long time. He then lifted his hands 3 times, and then returned, and I also returned. He hastened his steps, and I also hastened my steps. He ran, and I too ran. He came to the house, and I also came to the house. I, however, preceded him, and I entered the house, and as I lay down in the bed, he entered the house and said, 'Why is it, O Aisha, that you are out of breath?' I said, 'There is nothing.' He said, 'Tell me, or the subtle and the aware would inform me.' I said, 'Messenger of Allah, may my father and mother be ransom for you.' And then I told him the whole story. He said, 'Was it the darkness of your shadow that I saw in front of me?' I said, 'Yes.' He struck me on the chest, which caused me pain, and then said, 'Did you think that Allah and his apostle would deal unjustly with you?' She said, 'Whatsoever the people conceal, Allah will know it.'" Muhammad must have had quite the toothbrush, or handkerchief-like thing.
On the issue of women, Sammy says, well, the beating isn't supposed to cause a woman pain. It's not supposed to leave any bruises, not supposed to hurt them. And here, I'm not sure what Sammy, you do have Muslim commentators who say things like that, but if we look to the Muslim sources, we see something very different. Sahih Muslim, number 2127, Aisha sneaks out of the house to see what Muhammad's doing. Muhammad comes home, finds her out of breath, asks her what she's done, and then what happened? He struck me on the chest, which caused me pain. Wait a minute, this is Aisha saying what Muhammad did. He struck me on the chest, which caused me pain. I thought Sammy said it's not supposed to cause pain. So was Muhammad violating his own commands in Surah 434? Let's go with a more extreme example. Sahih.
And as for the point about the Prophet Muhammad, he struck Aisha. I know that hadith he's talking about, but that's actually a wrong translation. If you read the Arabic, it doesn't say he struck her. It's actually he rubbed her chest. And he did that to another man in a similar incident. He wasn't striking her or hitting her. And that's the Arabic as well. Yes, there was some pain, but that wasn't the intention to cause pain. And again, the Prophet did it to another man, the same exact act. It's not an act of hitting someone or violence. And again, the Arabic doesn't say struck. And as for beating,
And from the following hadith, it would appear that he wasn't the only one. Narrated by Ikrimah, Rifa'ah divorced his wife, whereupon Abdur Rahman bin Az-Zubair al-Qurazi married her. Aisha said that the lady came wearing a green veil and complained to her, Aisha, of her husband, and showed her a green spot on her skin caused by beating. It was the habit of ladies to support each other. So when Allah's apostle came, Aisha said, I have not seen any woman suffering as much as the believing women. Look, her skin is greener than her clothes. None of this should be surprising to us. When we read in the Quran that women are deficient in intelligence and religion, that men are superior to women, that a woman's testimony is only worth half that of a man, that a woman is the sign of an evil omen, that the majority of the dwellers in the hellfire are women. We shouldn't be surprised that Surah 434 tells Muslim men to beat their wives in order to keep them in line.